Welcome, friends, to a new interview. This is Jose Camano with a J. I'm saying J because I'm going to have a conversation with Juliet and Jules. They're from Firebug, and they are located in California in Joshua Tree, which is everything J, 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 J. So we're going to talk to them, and I think we're going to have a good time, at least on my side. Like I told you, if they get bored, they turn everything off and they leave. And then I just talk by myself. No big deal. I can handle it. So we got them over there. I really enjoy their music. They released, I believe, like 3 full albums, I think. Some EPs and singles. And they've been going all over the place. They've been touring. They were in Europe, United States. And they do really good music. So it's a pleasure to have those 2 people over there in, I think, Joshua Tree, California.
Yep. Thanks, Jose.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you guys. It's a little earlier in California, you know. And
yeah, it's a little after 4.
Right.
Yeah, it's just 4 now, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so they still got daylight. I got nothing else.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the sun is gone, and I'm just ready to go to bed.
Yeah. We still have a little bit left, but it's definitely going down much earlier than it was.
Yeah, summer's going away.
Summer's coming to a close. Yeah.
Yeah. So you live in Joshua Tree, but that's not the place where you were born. I'm pretty sure of that. Let's start, if we can go back in time, not in your mind. I don't mean like real time travel, but in your mind, Juliet, which is the vocalist, I think she plays guitar because I've seen a lot of videos.
I do.
And yeah. I think she also plays piano and some keyboards, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yes. And we're going to talk to her. Jules, you can just go and we'll talk to you later. So we're going to talk to Juliet. We got Juliet. Okay. No, don't go. We got Juliet. Juliet, you were born in Chicago. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Not that long ago.
Right.
So, did you tell me about your neighborhood? Were you born in the city of Chicago or the suburbs?
I was actually born in the city on the west side.
Okay.
But I did not grow up on the west side. My family moved to a western suburb when I was very young. When I was like 6. So I have some memories of being on the west side of Chicago. But yeah, I grew up in a western suburb, which is basically, I mean, it's not too far outside the western border of Chicago, so it's kind of like an extension, really,
of the Chicago area.
Yeah, so yeah, I grew up in a town called Bellwood.
Oh, Bellwood. So
smallish kind of town.
How was the neighborhood? Do you have was a lot of kids over there, or very low?
Oh yeah, yeah. Lively, working class, neighborhood, very just mixed, ethnically mixed. Everybody, like I had friends from every probably walk of life. It's that kind of place. It was really cool. Just good place.
So tell me about the kids over there. What are they listening to? Were you listening more or less all your friends to the same type of music, or people listen to different genres?
Different genres.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Mostly everything except for there was no country.
No country.
There was no country. Not really any jazz. Not really. A few of my friends that were getting into music, maybe, but that was not so common. So mostly rock, classic rock, heavier music, some metal, a lot of soul music, some hip hop, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit of punk, but not a lot of punk either. Mostly rock, soul, hip hop kind of stuff, and metal. Blues came later for me. A little bit when I was growing up, in my later teen years.
So what music did you play in the house? Did your parents have a good taste in music? Do you think, or they were listening to all the 50s?
No, my dad was like into classical music.
Oh, okay.
He still is, and I didn't get it when I was younger. I was although I did start to appreciate it when started listening to Metallica and Kirk Hammett, like some of his playing. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I recognize some of the some of what he's playing. Like that's classically influenced. So yeah, my dad wasn't so hip, but with regards to like the latest trend in popular music, but. Definitely listened to a lot of classical music around the house. So I inadvertently was influenced by classical music as well, even though I wasn't directly listening to it myself. And my mom is from Ireland and grew up in England.
Okay.
And so she would always hear her talking about stories when she was growing up in England, going to see shows in London and like. And so I became very interested in a lot of Brit rock, Brit pop and classic rock, like all the British bands, Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, et cetera, big into that, for sure.
They were playing rhythm and blues from the United States, and they made their own music, and they
exactly
came to the United States, and they were big hits. While I guess the blues artists over here, they were like left out for a while. No,
right?
Yeah.
Segregation,
and then late when I got a little bit old enough to get into some clubs, I kind of snuck into a few when I was like 18, 19 years old. But I started going to not only to rock venues, but I started going to some blues venues in Chicago, back in the city. And like, I got the full on experience there. Like, wow. Like that was a huge influence on me too. I mean, that will never go away because the musicians that I saw, it was like so incredible, and the singing was like, oh, just top notch,
Right.
So I got a lot of exposure to great blues music and living in Chicago.
So singing was your thing, right? That's the thing you loved the most when you were young, like to sing?
Yeah, that came first. Yeah. And then guitar. And then more recently, keyboard. I just started learning keyboard pretty much not that long ago. I mean, I kind of tinkered around with it a little bit, like maybe 6 or 7 years ago, but like I just didn't have the time or the patience and like to learn a new instrument. And then something just clicked in me, about maybe 3-4 years ago.
Right.
Part of it is probably just being out here in the desert,
right,
having more time to spend in sort of kind of isolation, and then COVID hit, and like
right.
So I had more time to practice, more time on my hands, and I just like, okay, well let me sit down and really try to learn how to play. So I've been like the last 3-4 years learning how to play.
With her with keyboards, like I think subconsciously though, Julia, like your keyboard playing also was influenced a lot by living in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think New Orleans, like certain things rubbed off on her and myself as well, but like with Juliet with her keyboard, like I noticed like you're listening more to Leon Russell and like like people, like I'm like, oh, you're listening to Leon Russell now. I'm like, oh, okay, there you go. Now you're on the right track,
Yeah.
Jules, go ahead.
I want to just get Jules a little bit. Jules, you were born in California, am I correct? Or
No. I was born in Chicago.
Oh, you were born in Chicago. Okay.
I'm a South Sider. Yeah. So
okay. Because I thought you were in California for a while when you were young.
So I was born in Chicago and I lived there for first 11 years, 10 years of my life. And when my parents got divorced, my mom is from East LA.
Okay.
So when my parents lived there and got divorced, my mom moved back to California and took me along. And that's how I wound up out here. So and then I later on in life I went back to Chicago after I graduated college, and that's where I met Juliet. I met Juliet. She was working at the Kingston Mines, which is a blues venue in Chicago, and that's where I saw her get up and sing, and I met her there. So
so it was an instant connection between the two of you. You have similar tastes, I guess. more or less?
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I grew up in a mixed area as
Hmm.
well. Um, I had, I was listening, you know, rock, mostly rock metal. That was like what I, you know, initially like. I was a late bloomer, like starting with the guitar and that kind of stuff. But you know, my older brother he passed away when he was young, but
Hmm.
he had a lot of like old rock records, like Kiss records and stuff like that. So like I was, you know,
Yeah.
listening to like, you know, dabbling into a lot of the rock stuff and the early classic rock bands like Deep Purple, Richie Blackmore's, and you know, your Tony Iommi's. Like Sabbath was a big influence on me. Like just learning all the, you know,
70s rock. We can talk about 70s rock, I guess.
yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit. So like
70s. Yeah.
I went through that, you know, and then when I started playing guitar, you know, I was heavily influenced with it when I went to college out here.
Hmm.
I was more, I started getting more influence with the grunge, like bands like Soundgarden and stuff. And I had in college, we had kind of an original like kind of the Seattle Sound grunge band. I went to school in Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara, and we were you know doing that for a while and stuff like that. So. But,
Hmm.
yep, and Juliet influenced me with blues, so her blues kind of thing like kind of rubbed off on me a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I forced it on
You
him.
force it. It's like, if you want to be
I
around me,
did.
you're going to play the blues.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
So I went when I went to college. Like she mentioned classical music, like that's what I studied. So
okay.
I was a classical guitar player. So like I went to music school like at university.
You're a great guitar player. I can see, I can tell, you know. I really
Thank you.
enjoy your playing. I really do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about the name Firebug, because Firebug could be many things. Even I was thinking of Australia. They get called firebugs. They torch cars and buildings, and they call them firebugs. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's also an insect called a firebug.
Right.
And that's more like what we named our band after. But
Right.
actually this goes back to when I was in college
Hmm.
and my college band, there was a song called Firebug.
Okay.
And then later on, like a few years later when I moved back to Chicago and I met Juliet, you know, we're thinking of band names and we looked around and nobody had the trademark to Firebug like a band name. So I'm like, it's easy to remember. Let's
Okay.
just, you know, it's a band name. That's all it is. Just like, you know, just like any name of any band, you could always like tie something to it. But like with us, you know, it was just more about like, you know, just having a name that's easy to remember. And you could kind of attach a name to the music. And Juliet, she's got red hair, like, you know, she dyed red hair and stuff like that. So like, you know, fire, like her
Fire.
hair is on, you know, kind of, you know, there's certain things
Right.
like kind of, I don't know. That's yeah.
How
So
would you describe your music? Like modern blues, rock and roll, garage rock, so many things. I guess you could. It's a mix. I don't know. It's more like
It
modern
is a mix.
rock,
yeah.
blues. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Jazz, a little bit folk, rock. I don't know. It's all different.
Not jazz.
Folk
Yeah,
rock.
it's definitely a mix. You
Yeah.
know,
Some of your soul stuff though has some jazz elements like that,
yeah.
you know.
The way you sing.
I write a lot.
Yeah.
I write a lot, and not everything that I write becomes like part of Firebug, if that makes sense. Because some of it just doesn't, I
Hmm.
guess, fit if you're trying to like stay, you know, within a certain realm or consistency or
Mhm.
whatever. But yeah, there is a little bit of jazziness in some of the stuff that I write that's more soul oriented. That's true. And the last few years, I've become even more than the last few years, since moving to New Orleans.
Hmm.
I've always had the soul side of me. It's always been like that and rock and blues, you know.
Right.
Uh, and I and all the different things that shades of those genres in between, like, you know, folk and like a little bit of psychedelia, and you know,
Yeah.
there's so much, you know, I have a lot of influences, basically, to be honest with you. And I've never been I never really decided like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and just like be this one thing or try to be this one thing.
Right.
Of course, if somebody comes along with us and says, okay, we're going to throw down all this, $1 million, go write a record that sticks in this certain genre. Okay. But we're having fun. So, yeah, I guess I didn't really answer your question. You were asking.
Yeah, I understand, but you don't have a template to follow. Like you have a
no, definitely not.
Well, I think though it all comes down to really one thing with us. I mean, we are a rock band. I mean, we have influences, but ultimately, like in the end, like we, as a duo, like when we play, like we do perform like acoustically, just like other bands did in the past, like Led Zeppelin and bands like that.
That's what I was gonna say.
But ultimately, like that's what we are. And I would say at this stage of the game, like it's weird. Like, we've been through different things with our record Season for Change and like some of those, which was, we had this tighter like rock sound that was kind of more like, I don't know, modern rock, kind of like, I don't know, sort of prog, but not real. I wouldn't say like she's writing stuff now like on keyboard. I'm going like, that sounds a lot like some kind of like something that like Maynard Tool right or something, and in a good way though, in a cool way. Like I'm like, that's cool that you wrote that. Like I'm like, because there's, I don't know, certain things, I guess maybe from moving here too, like certain things have rubbed off on us too. So like in my opinion, I think our palette has expanded more. Like in the rock vein, we're kind of fusing like kind of the blues thing with a little bit more of a modern like rock edge, like more of a, I can't really explain it, but more modern proggy rock edge, like kind of a modern day like Muse-ish with like a female singer, like sort of like,
I couldn't describe it because when I hear listen to your 3 records, the Wandering Soul, it's totally different from No Return, the last one. I think it's a big difference between the two. All the piano work is yours, Juliet?
On No Return.
No Return, yes.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We had a keyboard player on Wandering Soul. Yeah,
Okay.
keyboardist. Yeah.
Right. But I noticed it seems like the No Return was Juliet's piano work. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually recorded, play, on one of our records, playing keyboard. So
that's good.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, when did you guys move from Chicago to California after you met? Because then you moved to California, right? To
we did.
With the band. We had a full band, and all 4 of us moved out
to Los
here,
Angeles,
like in early 2000, like mid 2000s. So we moved to first we lived in West Hollywood.
So now we're
Well, it's all right.
Now we're not 25.
We lived in West Hollywood
Yeah.
for like 2 years, and then we got pushed out of there because all the rents are going up there. And so we moved to Silver Lake neighborhood, which is on the other side of LA, and found a little house to live in then we basically, the band broke up. The people that we moved out from Chicago kind of went their separate ways, and then we brought in.
They left California.
Yeah, we brought in other people, and we took that band like to Europe, and we played Sonosphere Festival in 2010. Like at Nebworth, and we're on the bill. It's more of a metal fest. So we were, we performed, and we booked a tour around that, and we also went back to Europe again as a duo and did some shows like as an acoustic. That was the beginning of our kind of tapping into our acoustic-ish kind of thing. After we were already over there with our full band, and we kind of got some, some attention with her vocals and stuff like that. So.
Cheaper to travel with 2 people instead of 4.
Of course. So your first album, Season for Change, you were in California when you recorded that album?
Yeah, we recorded at this place called Grandmaster. It's not there anymore. It's on the corner of Cahuenga and Sunset. And
that's like pretty much right in the middle of Hollywood.
Foo Fighters recorded a lot there. Ben Harper, like a bunch of people.
It's a great place.
Like it's an old school recording studio. So back in the day, the owner, Alan, so people would come in there like Elton John and John Lennon and stuff. They would they'd all party in there. Like they'd all hang out, like, you know, in his studio back then. I won't say what they were doing, but it was a popular drug in the 70s and the 80s
Yeah,
and
well,
stuff.
they were
But
playing chess, maybe.
yeah, they were playing chess. So, but they had a really nice, it was interesting. It was a very unique recording studio. It had like, it had a really cool drum room. It had a very unique drum sound for LA, and like people, drummers like Dave Grohl and the drummer for Tool, like they recorded in their drum room a lot. Like,
it's an amazing room. Yeah.
No.
Anyway, so
You
and
naming a lot
we
of
actually just found out about the place.
Didn't Billy Preston park his car in there or something?
So Billy, no, George Harrison had his Rolls Royce in their
really?
garage. It's all one of probably 20, you know, but like, yeah, he had one, you know, he had his Rolls.
History in there, yeah. Sure.
A lot of
So the owner had I forget his name, but he brought over Alan, I remember the owner's name. So the owner brought over this engineer from the company Neve. They had an old Neve mixing board in there, and he actually moved him out from England and found him a place to live in Hollywood just so he could work in the studio and be the in-house tech for their board. And so that I thought that was interesting. I never really heard about that before. So
yeah, you got a lot. You could write a book about all those stories.
yeah, it's cool. It's a cool place,
cool.
but it's gone now. So
yeah. So you play many places there in LA, right? Like I know you play the Viper Room. They'll say
a lot. Yeah. We played Viper Room. We played Roxy, and you know, mostly it's a mixed bag. Like we would play on the east side of town. We played a lot of at the time it was Spaceland. Now it's the Satellite. Now they call it the Satellite. We play at the Echo, and that's the east side. It's like Echo Park, Silver Lake. And then downtown, there were venues that aren't even there anymore. We used to play at like Bordello,
a lot of galleries too,
and art galleries.
Yeah.
Art galleries
downtown. Yeah. Those are always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There was one venue, art gallery. It's called Hangar 18. I don't think it's there anymore, but that was downtown. It was a really big, like, so it was a hangar. It was like a big giant hangar.
8th Street, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And they had a great big stage, and they had this huge art gallery in there. There's like, it's all these people used to hang out there, but now because things are more expensive in LA and stuff, it's hard to find like underground places like that. But it was nice though. It was a really nice place, and like totally. You know, you got exposed to a lot of the a lot of artists and stuff were really like still being able to make a living in that area and like hang out and do stuff. So it was cool.
But not anymore, right? It's impossible.
Not as much. No.
Well, I mean, we haven't lived there in a while either. So I mean, things change a lot too. So there are things going on right now that we should know about that we probably don't know about just because we don't live there. We live out here.
Man. So tell me, why did you move to New Orleans? What was the reason you decided to go to New Orleans? Do you know people over there, or you just want to get out of California?
We didn't know anyone. There were two things: economics and culture.
Okay.
We had to get out of Los Angeles. It was just too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And we were trying to weigh our options. Like we wanted to be in a music town, so like pretty much all of the cities that we could think of that had like big music communities were just too expensive, and so it was about like how could we cut our cost of living in half. And also, where can we be around like an amazing music culture where they have like a community of just like really talented musicians? And New Orleans is like the place.
It's a totally different music scene over there, right? Very rich scene, 24-hour music going on.
Yeah, it was great. Like it's like amazing. Like it is. It's constant music, which that's another thing. We wanted to just immerse ourselves in music, like. all the time, and like just walk out the door and hear music, down the street, like in the afternoon, and at night, people are playing all the time, and there's there's obviously a lot of venues to play, and
Right.
And also the street culture there is very lively. People play on the street, and
I was going to ask you, which street is the most, the one that has most venues, more clubs? Frenchman Street, Bourbon Street? Which one is the most lively regarding music?
Well, now Frenchman Street's
they both are really.
Frenchman Street's more authentic.
Okay.
Like they try to be more more.
Well, that's
geared
subjective.
towards New Orleans.
That's totally subjective.
Well, there's a lot more jazz on Frenchman Street. That kind of music. Like on Bourbon Street, it's a mixed bag. Like there's a lot of cover bands and stuff like that. Like playing rock covers. Which is not.
Jazz too.
There's some. Well, there's Preservation Hall.
Yeah.
And that's on Bourbon. Like there's a couple places.
What you like, I guess, and there's music in other parts of town too, in Uptown, there are venues there too.
Is it is it a safe city to walk the streets at night? I have no idea. Can you walk at night on one of the?
I would, unless you're with a lot of people, I wouldn't recommend it.
It depends on where you are.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's very. New Orleans is very block to block. It's just.
Yeah. Have you ever had any musical instruments stolen or anything like that?
Yeah, I've heard about other people.
We haven't personally. Knock on wood. Yeah,
we were okay, but I've known people, musicians, that have had their cars broken into and had their gear stolen. Recently, some band, it was on the news there. They had they played somewhere there, and a couple of people just stole everything they had. Like they stole all their gear, but that kind of stuff happens in other places
in Europe
too.
Also.
Yeah, I mean, we have a band. We know of a band here in LA. This band Spindrift.
You say Berlin?
What's that?
I'm sorry. Where did you say in Europe? I'm sorry.
Italy. I was talking about Italy.
Italy, really?
They had their bands broken into and steal their instruments and stuff.
Oh wow!
So it's
what are there cities in Europe that are more notorious for that than others, or?
I don't live in Europe, but there's specifically maybe South Italy, Romania, places like that, Hungary. I don't know. It depends.
Yeah.
I guess maybe in the UK, because you guys play in the UK also, right? You were in the UK.
Yeah.
We haven't been to Europe to play, like the mainland, just the UK.
Right. Yeah.
We played by you, not too far from. It's been a while, but we played CBGB's a couple times when it was open. Oh yeah,
we did. Yeah.
Oh boy,
we played Arlene's Grocery, and I can't remember. There's some other.
A few other places too.
We played a venue in New Jersey too. I forget the town, but it was. But at the time, we were we did a cover of Black Sabbath's War Pigs, and that's the only thing I remember from it, because the whole bar came in, into the room was separated, where the band played was separated from where the bar is, old school bar. And I just remember all of a sudden there's all these people. I'm like, where do these people come from? Why weren't they here when we're playing our other stuff? It was kind of funny.
Yeah. I was big fan. I was going to CBG very often. It's small place, it's not a big.
Yeah.
Those hardcore bands from everywhere, even.
Did you trip on the floor?
I trip on the floor, and I think I think I threw up on the floor too.
Oh,
that floor has destroyed a lot of speaker cabinets.
I just remember walking in there being, oh my God, watch my step,
Yeah, very dark.
Fun place.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun watching those hardcore bands. I used to love going.
Yeah. We're in they have bands that they have linked, that played there before. We're one of them. We're in the CBGB's movie at the end of it.
Really?
You could zoom in, not our faces, but our band name. I'm see, there we go.
It's on the wall.
I thought that was kind of cool, though. So, but they're gone now, so that's the end of that. So.
Yeah. So you were. We were going to talk about your songs, the way you write and stuff. Just before you were in when you were in New Orleans, when did that Wandering Soul album come out? It came in 2018. Were you still in New Orleans over there? No, or you were back?
No, when the album came out, we just moved here.
Okay.
So like, but we signed a record contract, the label that put it out. Like when I think we're just about ready to move here. So but that record's recorded in New Orleans and also here. Because prior to moving from Los Angeles to New Orleans, producer up here, Chris Goss, who's produced like Queens of the Stone Age and his band Masters of Reality. He had Ginger Baker in his band from Cream, like in the early '90s, and like you should look them up because he's actually a really good band. They've been around since mid '80s probably. So, but anyways, he brought it the first time we came up to Joshua Tree. He brought us up here, and we recorded an EP with him. And when with Wandering Soul, there's a few tracks off of there that were recorded with Chris up at Rancho de Luna Studios, which is up here. So,
okay.
And in New Orleans, we recorded at Studio in the Country, which is it's in Bogalusa, Louisiana, which is about an hour and a half north of New Orleans. So,
great studio.
That's a really cool studio. A lot of history there. From Stevie Wonder to Marilyn Manson to like, there's a lot of people have recorded there. Like,
there is a lot of songs I like from Wandering Soul, a bunch of them. But I listened to Sinner a bunch of times.
Yeah, Sinner's a good one.
Yeah, The River, the Refugee. I love all of those songs.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I listen to them very often. I got plenty of time to listen, so I just keep putting in.
Do you lean more Wandering? Do you lean more Wandering Soul than No Return?
It's a little. To be sincere, I think I love. There are songs that I like in No Return, like No Return, or Change. I like that. I like all of them, but it's a different. Depends on my mood. You know what I mean? It's
right.
Yeah.
Different times of the day. I like to listen to different things, but I like Wandering Soul. I really enjoyed it the most. The most. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
My opinion means nothing. So
Well, your opinion is your opinion.
But I love it. I have a question regarding because you moved to Joshua Tree in California. I have a question, nothing to do with your band. Have you ever come across Jonette Napolitano from Concrete Blonde? Never.
No, we hear that she lives around here somewhere in the area, but
just asking because I was a big fan of Concrete Blonde, so I
it would be cool to meet her. Yeah, she's great.
We did see Concrete Blonde at a private show in Hollywood a long time ago, and that was a treat. Remember that? It was an SIR. No, it wasn't SIR. It was another. It was like a rehearsal space.
I saw her in Chicago too.
And she's really cool. Great singer.
Yeah, I was in love with her for a while. Not in love with her, but I mean in the 80s. Like, a lot in love.
Sorry.
No, not really. So you moved to Joshua Tree after New Orleans, which is totally different. It's like I don't know. Is it a more relaxing way of life? A less argumental place to live, you could say.
Well, it's more isolating a little bit. It's just there's less people and there's no foot traffic here really. New Orleans is all about.
Well, yes, it's very different.
Yeah.
I mean, extremely different. I mean, like you said, it's definitely more. Well, everything's worse. We're out in the middle of the desert. I mean,
it's more isolated. I guess you don't meet as many people as you did in New Orleans. It's not like you.
No way. Yeah.
You don't have as many friends around than maybe you did.
No way. Yeah, it's a lot harder to meet people here. Definitely.
Things are like.
I mean, because when you in New Orleans, if you walk, like in the French Quarter, you walk down the street and after you live there for a little while, you basically almost know everybody, and everybody knows you, and like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You walk past, like, and you see musicians setting up, doing sound check at one bar. You're like, hey, how's it going? What time you playing? Oh yeah, okay. When are you playing? You know, and then you walk down half a block, and then it's like, hey, how's it going? You know, you know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah. Hey, we're having a party. Come on over here. Like, you know, but you're always constantly running into people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but here, no. I mean, because there's no foot traffic. Everybody's in their car.
Right.
And you know, it's a culture of I mean, we only have a few venues.
We
So
only
like,
have like one highway. That's really it.
yeah,
There's one main highway, and
Hmm.
that has all the grocery stores and a few bars.
we have
and that's
private
pretty
parties,
much
like,
it.
and if but it's hard to get to know who those people are because everybody's kind of like, it's just the nature
Spread
of the
out.
environment.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know those people, then it's hard to get to know them, kind
Of
of a
course.
thing.
Hmm.
And then COVID happened. People became even more isolated. It's been a little bit rough, to be honest with you, living here, but it's beautiful. I mean, like, nighttime skies are amazing. And like, it's not. It's, you know, it's nice to have a little bit of space, like, you know, and not be crammed up in a little tiny little apartment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because we need space.
As
Right.
artists, you know. Yeah.
And so, you know, yeah.
How far are you from the Joshua Tree National Park? Are you
It's right behind our house,
right
pretty
behind your
much.
house?
It's only
Well,
like
like
4
not,
miles, maybe.
maybe I was more like 6 or 7 miles.
No, it's not that far.
Oh, maybe I'm miscalculating.
I think it's like 4. I
It's
think
a few
more like
miles
4.
away.
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah.
So we're south. Where the park is just south of us. It's really like, well, you wouldn't know where we live, but like it's really close. I mean, the entrance is not far, and so the park basically hugs all the towns. Like so where we live up here, there's like 3 towns that are attached to each other, and there's one main highway. So when you get up there, well, the first town you get to is like Morongo Valley, but it's a separate valley, and it's separated from like where we live. It's a little bit lower in elevation, and so you have Yucca Valley and Joshua Tree and 29 Palms. Those are like the 3 towns that run east, and 29 Palms is is the furthest eastern town. So like a lot of these towns now are starting to open up more bars. There's more investment now up here, so there's more you know, there's more places to go than there were before, like when we first moved up here, which wasn't that long ago. But just like in a lot of places though, where there's a lot of new investment, you know, a lot of these places are very expensive, and like, you know, struggling artists can't go out and splurge $100 for appetizers and, like, you know, like a couple beers, right? I mean, some people could do that up here, but like, you know, a lot of people are just like, well, it's kind of out of my price range here, so yeah.
What would you say? Is there
Well, it's true.
the sunrises are nicer than the sunsets, or both are beautiful?
No, the nighttime skies are amazing. You know, it's you looking up and seeing the stars, and just, you know, it's just. I suppose I that part of it maybe isn't as unique as I probably think. To me, it is, because I've always been in an urban environment my whole life. So like, to see the nighttime sky is like, what's that? You know, look at the street lights over there. Oh, look at the helicopter. You know, there's another helicopter flying over our house with a flash looking for somebody.
Yeah, fire truck. Yeah.
Like, you know, like in LA, we in LA and Silver Lake, we always had silver. They're always looking for somebody, you know, like the LAPD with the helicopter.
Yeah.
2:00 in the morning.
Following crazy
Like,
drivers.
what's that noise? Oh, it's a helicopter, and then flash on your house, you know. So like, being out here, you know, like with the quiet, like, you know, it's just really nice, you know, when you look up and you can see the Milky Way, and, you know, and it's
Yeah.
you
You're the
feel a sense of something bigger, you know.
The desert stars.
You're the lyricist of the band, so you write a lot about, I don't know, about clouds, mountains, I don't know, the sun, the moon.
I do now.
The sun, the moon, and the traveling, I don't know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
contemplating the universe.
yeah. I've become like a really, you know, I wouldn't say I'm a total nature person. You know, I'm really an urban person at heart, but like you know, yeah, the environment has influenced me a lot. Like especially like it goes back to when we first moved to Los Angeles, and when we would leave every once in a while and like and go you know, outside of the city and go up into the mountains, and then I was like, oh my god, look at this, you have pine trees, you know, and then you have desert, and then you have like ocean, and it was just, I was just so in awe of all that, and I really started getting into hiking and just being outside, and like which is something that was kind of new to me, you know. I don't know. I mean, in Chicago, like when I was a teenager, we had forest preserves where we would all go and like drink beer, you know, like as kids. We weren't supposed to do that, but we did anyway. But it's not the same, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like so yeah, big influence there, you know, and yeah.
You enjoy more writing like more upbeat songs or downbeat songs, sad songs? What do you prefer?
Depends, like you said, on the mood.
Yeah.
You know, and resources. I like both, really. You know, yeah. I mean, I'm more of overall probably more of a mid-tempo person. I always have been, kind of.
Okay.
Leaning in that somewhere in that direction, because I like there to be space for rhythm, like to groove a little bit, like it just be somewhat behind a little bit behind the beat kind of a thing, but not always. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of
I
answers
was
your
going to
question.
ask you, who's the most risk taker? Because when you move from California, Chicago, California, New Orleans, back to California, do you always agree what to do? Or is like a fighting between the two saying, no, I don't want to go yet. We'll go later. I don't know. Is it easier for you to decide where to go, the two of you?
Well, we well, when we went out to Los Angeles, it was like I was really wanting to go to New York.
Okay.
Again, I wanted to be in another big city. Like, well, LA's a big city, obviously, duh. But like, I mean, like where everything's close together, and you have like subways and like buses and everywhere, and like you know, lots of life movement.
Right.
And it's either a cross between that or San Francisco for me. He wanted to go to LA. But
well, no.
But at the time,
actually,
yeah, you did.
No, initially, I wanted all of us to go to London.
Oh,
well.
I thought we should have went to Europe.
That would have been okay, but that was just not realistic.
But we couldn't do it because we had dogs at the time, and also like we wanted to hold on to our dog and our families too, like
families. We had two dogs, and there was no way in hell that we were going to leave our dogs. They're very important to us, you know. So where can you go? We couldn't move to like we couldn't take like 3 guys, me, and 2 big dogs and live in a little apartment in New York. No way.
Maybe Brooklyn.
Well, we could have, but we would have gone nuts probably. We would have got crazy.
With a full band.
No way. Forget about
it. Well, that's another thing. When we had
San Francisco.
There were 4 of us. And at the time, LA was cheaper in New York.
Yeah.
We could find like a little house to rent in LA.
Yeah.
And that was more difficult in New York. So like, you know, and plus we had bigger dogs too. We have a dog.
Yeah.
And like in LA, it's easier to find, like, you could get a rehearsal space, like you could get like a storage place and because it's more spread out in LA. It's just how it works there. Like, so we're able to like have our own rehearsal space in LA. I mean, other bands do too, but in New York, a lot of bands, like, they go to just like hourly lockouts, you know, because it's really difficult to have your own like spot, you know. It's hard to find.
But anyway, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So moving to New Orleans was Jules' idea, actually. LA was, and so was New Orleans. So he got his way 2 times.
2 times. So the next move will be Juliet's choice to.
It was my idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I wanted, I just kind of figured, well, again, economics is a big part of our decision. Couldn't move anywhere really expensive. Actually, we were thinking about we wanted to move to Austin.
Okay.
And we could not find a place anywhere.
We almost
Austin.
did.
We tried so hard. We had a friend who let us stay at his place for a few weeks, and we went out like not every day, but like and looked at places. And we started like right in the center of Austin, looking for a place because, of course, you want to be where everything's happening, right?
Right.
Couldn't find anything, too expensive. And then we kept like going around the circle, around the perimeter, and then nope, nothing there. And then finally on the outskirts, nothing there. We got close to finding a couple places, but people were bidding on rentals.
Oh yeah, they do that here too, over here.
And we were like, okay. And so we couldn't find anything anywhere in the city. And then the next thing we know, like our friend, his friend was saying, well, you might want to check out Pflugerville. And nothing against Pflugerville. We drove out there, beautiful suburb, but we're like, okay, wait a minute.
What are we gonna do here?
Why are
we gonna move to Pflugerville? We have to drive into Austin. I'm like, so that's when I said, okay, wait a minute. If we're gonna have to be like stuck in our cars all the time, we might as well be somewhere where we can enjoy the environment. And I thought about coming back out here. We couldn't go back to the coast again because it's too expensive. At least, unless all of a sudden we become famous or something, which is whatever. I'm being sarcastic now. So anyway, too expensive. You want to be economic, right? So we could continue to do this. I'm just being realistic. Anyway, I guess I kind of repeated myself there, but you have two beautiful mountain ranges where you could go up into the pines and go hiking. It's a little bit far away from LA, but it's just close enough where if you have to make a connection with someone or a group of people, like you can,
it's an extension of like
to meet people, if you have to, even though we don't get there as often as we should, but we do every once in a while. So that was a big part of it. And pre-COVID, right before COVID, the cost of living here was pretty low for California, and so
not
we're like,
anymore.
Not anymore. I know that almost changed. So all these different things came into play, the environment, and then also we had come up here in the past to record with Chris Goss, and so we knew there was like a music community here, and so we decided just to take a chance. We're like, okay, this is going to be really different because it's not urban at all.
Yeah.
And so we just took a chance, and that's how we ended up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jules, I was going to ask you about your appearance. When did you start growing the beard? You didn't have a beard before, right?
Nope.
When you met Rick Rubin or somebody?
Well, that's on my list. But yeah,
we love to work with them
during pretty much during COVID lockdown stuff. Like I was just like, well, as long as we're just locked down, I might as well like do something different. So like, I don't know. I know other people.
I saw some photos. Yeah, I saw some photos of you. I wasn't sure. I had to make sure it was the same guy.
Yeah.
You see,
we kind of got rid of that guy and we brought the beard guy.
The new guy. Yeah. Talking about that, are you the types of persons that keep boxes full of stuff? All things, remembrances, and you carry with you, or you don't really carry that much when you move around? Like,
we're hoarders. We pretty much hold on to like stuff. Most
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, not crazy hoarders, but we like the garage has we save stuff. But we save stuff because I think with art and stuff, with like playing music, like we have old ideas from a long time ago and stuff. I try to hold on to like it's just stuff because you never know. I may revisit something and find old tape or something. You're like, what's this? Oh, that song was kind of cool. We never like released that one before, or something. I don't know. I mean, we're not too bad. I mean, we've pretty much, when I look around,
we don't really have a lot.
Well, all the furniture I'm looking at, like in our little living room here, I mean, that's all we've hung on to that since we met. Like a lot of pieces and stuff, like same stuff. Just why not? Why buy something if you don't need it? You know, it's comfortable still and it works.
What I'm trying to say is, if you have to move right away, could carry everything in a van. Is that like?
No.
No,
You
no.
really needed more like.
Yeah, we need help. Yeah,
Need help.
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah, yeah, a little bit of help. You know.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, we have, you know, I have like when we're in the rock band setting, like I have my like 412 cabinets and my
Okay.
Marshall heads and my high wide heads and you know all that stuff. Definitely, you need a truck. You need a big trailer, 2 trailers, maybe some
Right.
help with the moving people. You know, because mostly like half the stuff's like gear. More than half's like amps, guitars, like you know. Because
Right.
after years, you know, you just accumulate
Hmm.
stuff. And then we have a PA. We have like 2 PA systems. We have like, you know, all that stuff.
So
too.
when you go to play in a club or any place around your area, how long does it take for you to set up on stage? Or depends.
We're quick as a duo because we play more as a duo lately. I
Hmm.
mean, we're fast. We're used to this. I mean,
Well,
10
it
minutes. Like,
depends on where we played too, though. So
Yeah.
I mean, if we're playing, sometimes if we're like last week, we played at a private party for a friend's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a little bit longer because we're setting up our own PA. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you know, there's that, and we're doing our own sound check. We're doing, you know, there's no sound person helping us or any, you know, we have
Right.
to do it ourselves.
So how many
And
guitars
I'm
do you
playing
carry?
keyboard and guitar. I'm sorry.
How many guitars do you carry? Like you play the guitar, Jules plays guitar. Do you play bass also, Jules, sometimes? Or
yeah. So like I play bass in a, well, no, not with, I did like we did like a live stream, like lockdown thing at a venue here, like
Hmm.
outside, and like for some of our songs, like as a duo, I played bass live. But no, but I stopped doing that. I just play acoustic guitar with her while we do a duo. But on the recordings and stuff, I played bass on a few different songs, and we have a new single that's going to be coming out
All
here.
right.
I'm not sure exactly like what the day is yet, but like we've
Hmm.
we didn't really touch on this, but we're working with an engineer in London right now. We mixed one song already that we recorded, and I played bass on that and lead guitar and a few other songs as well. Sinner I played bass on. That's
Oh,
me.
okay. That was you?
Yeah, yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
yeah. So I do play.
Sinner, by the way, started off as a blues song.
Oh.
I
Oh.
mean, it turned out the band interpreted it like it became this, like, you know, I guess you'd say heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy. For me, it's a heavy song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have like clear hours for you two guys to practice, or you can do it at any time, day or night? It doesn't matter.
Well, mostly in the afternoons, late afternoons.
Late afternoon.
Yeah.
Because of work scheduling.
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that,
I have a job. I work online, so, and I get up early in the morning. So, you know,
Yeah. So
we tend to go to sleep kind of early,
you leave
unless,
it for later. Yeah.
at least during the week, you know, unless you know, we have a show or something, you know.
Are there any particular songs you have written that you wrote that you would take back, and you would never release them? Had released those songs, or you were proud of all of them? Or you were like, this is a song I really didn't put too much into it, or
I think a lot of those we didn't release. I mean, I think pretty much most of the songs we released, we felt pretty good about. You know, I think there's some songs we want to remix.
okay.
You know, we'd like to revisit, like maybe someday. But I mean, that's just coming from me. I can't really think of like.
Yeah, like I'd like to remix Further from June.
We're doing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're doing that right now. So the producer we're working with, Adrian Bushby, is in London. So he's a Grammy winner. He won a Grammy Award for Foo Fighters and so we've already done one. We have one single. It's new. It hasn't been released, and we are remixing a couple songs from Wandering Soul that we weren't totally like. We want to like raise the bar on him a little bit more. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, with that, and then ultimately that will be like an EP.
Oh, okay.
Like from that session that we did with our players in New Orleans at Studio in the Country, when we lived in New Orleans. Wasn't that long ago. And then we also have a bunch of new songs that we've been talking about too, that we've been writing here in Joshua Tree and stuff like that. That we have more than an album's worth of material that we want to go back into the studio, wherever that may be, maybe up here, possibly somewhere, and record like a follow-up full-length record, like following no return eventually, but the EP is gonna come first. That's with the single. That's gonna be something. It's pretty cool. I think you'll dig it. It's they're rockers. It's a rocker.
Oh, there's more heavy.
Yeah, it's more. Is
that what you listen
rocking.
to mostly? You listen to mostly heavier music?
Nah. I listen to heavy metal a lot, but I listen to I listen to everything.
Okay, no, I'm just wondering because that would make sense. I mean, if that's the case, I would see why you would like Wandering Soul better.
Oh no, I like a lot of prog music also. I like everything.
It's more, the single's definitely upbeat and it's edgy. It's not so there's metal overtones, but it's more like kind of a modern, like hard prog rock kind of thing with her vocals, and it's anthemic. It's like No Returns kind of anthemic, like it's got that kind of vibe to it. So we'll see what happens with it, but we're feeling really good about it. It turned out really strong, and she soars on it. Her vocals are just like, they just sound so good.
It really does. You went to school, right? Music school. You have vocal coaches because you really sing. Your singing is really great. So
thank you. I've had a few vocal coaches over my course of my life. Not until I started to get a little bit older. Well, when I was in my late teens, I actually had a vocal coach. My first vocal coach. Gosh, her name is Cheryl Rack in Chicago. She's operatically trained. Okay. Obviously, she didn't train. But she treats people as singing, in the pop realm. I took lessons with her probably for 6 or 7 months, but then I took lessons from another vocal coach, Ed Farron in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Gosh, I don't know, maybe a little over a year, maybe. And then I got into the habit of doing that, so it became part of my routine, sort of. And then we moved out to Los Angeles. I found a vocal coach in Los Angeles, Liz Lewis, and she's very well known in Los Angeles. Actually, I took lessons with her for a while, and I've kind of taken what I've learned from those three vocal. Actually, I forgot about one guy. Gosh, it was so long ago, when I was just a teenager. But I've taken what I've learned from the vocal coaches in my life, and I just consolidated all that and made a habit out of, like, I haven't taken lessons quite a long time now. It's been years.
How about Jules? Did you ever sing, or just did chorus, or sing?
Wait. What was that again? Well,
about singing, you never sang in any of the songs?
When we first started as a band, I sang backups a little bit with some of the other guys in the band with her, but like I've kind of backed off. I come up with melodies. I mean, I just don't. I'm not at her level. Like, I don't feel like, maybe some things, like really simple things, like I could sing out on choruses on a couple things with her that will pass. It'll sound okay, but like, that's not good enough for me because she's so good that I have to kind of be right there with her, and I personally just not. I'm kind of like, I have the Jimmy Page attitude, He never liked to sing,
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy. I mean, they sang backups on like Whole Lot of Love and stuff like that, but he wasn't into it, and I'm kind of like that, So, I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with guitar, and I like coming up with melodies and stuff like that. So, we have a little dog here. He's kind of acting up a little bit.
You got okay. 2 dogs? I got 2 dogs.
Yeah, he's jealous.
He's getting ready to start woofing big time.
He hasn't barked this whole time, though.
He's underneath the table, yeah.
Is it a small dog or a big dog?
Small. He's
Small?
he's like a
Medium small.
he's a Chihuahua mix. You
No,
know?
he's
Uh,
not.
Yes.
He's a terrier.
He's
Okay.
got all dogs from LA are Chihuahua. in him.
Yeah, if I found him in LA when he's a puppy
Yeah.
on the street.
I got two
Yeah,
dogs
street
upstairs.
dog.
I got
Oh,
two dogs
cool.
upstairs. Yeah.
Nice. What kind of dogs?
It's a schnauzer. Schnauzer is a white schnauzer, which
Yeah, schnauzers. Yeah.
there's not too many
Cool.
white schnauzer. And then I got a mixed Maltipoo. Small dogs because I cannot handle big dogs around the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's fun. Yeah.
Dogs are great. We love our dog. We take him hiking with us all the time.
Oh yeah.
He's like 12 and a half years old now. He's
He's a
still
little
like
mountain
he
goat.
still goes on big
That's
hikes
cool.
with
Yeah.
us and stuff. So,
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
yeah. Yep.
So tell me
He's
about
a-
your last. Did you play a couple venues lately? No, did you play? Did you play last week?
So we played up the last venue we played up here was Red Dog Saloon over the
Okay.
summer. That's like up in Pioneer Town.
Well, we played at a private party last week.
We play at private party, and then Labor Day weekend we played out in this town called Monrovia, which is right by Pasadena. It's kind of like it's a brewery. They make their own beer and stuff, and they have like a stage. And we were like, there's like a Labor Day kind of weekend event. So it was our band, our friend's band, and there was like two other bands and stuff. So like it was kind of like four bands, and it was fine. It was fun. And I'm trying to think where else have we played.
We played Topanga.
We played up in Topanga Canyon, which is by LA. This place called Corazon. It's like it's kind of a performance arts / like music venue. We played twice there in August, actually. And just there's only so many places to play up here. There's not that it's there's one main venue that's kind of the go-to venue, and that's Pappy and Harriet's. And that's where most of all the touring acts like always stop up here and play Pappy. So they're it's not easy to have a regular gig at Pappy's. Like, it would be nice if we did. We could have a full band just play there like once a month or something. But in all honesty, like no local artist up here plays Pappy's regularly. I mean, anymore. They used to, but not so much anymore. So you have to adjust to your situation and figure out, where you live. You have to know where you live and see like where you can play, which is another reason why we're a duo, because as a duo act, we're able to kind of go in and out of other situations where we could bring our own PA, and like it's just the two of us. So I love playing. We both love having a full band, but it has to be ideal for the venue, the PA, all that stuff. For her vocals. A lot of places, the PA isn't that good. That's not good for Juliet when she's singing, because she's a star. So like, what's the point if you can't hear her? Like, that's always my thing. Like, well, I mean, if you can't turn up the vocal, then like, there's
like
no
a little
point.
small places that don't always necessarily have the place set up for sound.
It's amazing how they don't
impromptu places. Places. A lot of places we play out here in the desert.
It amazes me how like some of these live engineers, you go to these venues and like, I don't know what it is, but they don't
outside.
They don't turn the vocals up, and you're like sitting there going, why would you want to like watch a band that's like where the vocals are like priority, like they, and not hear the lead singer? Like, I just don't. You think any of these bands that would
Is that because they don't really pay attention to the lyrics anymore? They don't. They just.
They're just not paying attention to the vocals.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's not paying attention to lyrics anymore. Lazy live sound people. They're not paying attention.
Okay. All right.
It's true.
No. All right. Okay.
It's true.
Don't start going off on a tangent.
I didn't name any names. But I have to say, no, but it's true, though. I think that what your point was that people aren't paying attention to lyrics. But my point is that they would pay.
It's the bands too. Some bands just don't care because maybe they just don't care.
That's different, though. I'm talking about.
It depends.
I'm saying like a lot of people would pay attention.
Now if you're playing, if they heard the vocals. And the genres too. Sometimes like if you're watching like a soul band or an R&B act like that has that influence, and or excuse me, like blues or something like that, you are definitely going to hear the vocals because it's such a big integral part. Melody is such an integral part of music that, like, you know, you could, I don't know. That's always been my experience with rock bands and like, alternative bands and punk bands. I guess it depends on how much the band cares and how much the sound person cares and what kind of venue is it. Do they even have like a decent PA, or is it all a concrete floor, like what, and walls and sounds bouncing all over the place? You can't. Is a place designed for sound? All these different factors and variables come into play.
Rock is always tricky and stuff.
Status. If you're a touring act and you have, an entourage going with you and your own sound people, and obviously
you're gonna have
it's going to sound great every night.
Yeah,
because they're going to make sure, right? When you're just playing on your own, you just never know.
But that's weird because with all the technology we have and everything else nowadays, it amazes me, like how because you go back in time, not even that really super far when you consider time. But you take a band like AC/DC, even when they had like Bon Scott, like playing in small clubs, they were loud. I mean, Angus was loud. They're all loud, but you could still hear Bon. Like they made. I mean that if you went and saw
he
a band,
could sing.
No, but it doesn't matter.
They wanted to hear his voice because he.
No, you're saying that now. They want to hear your voice too, but sometimes,
I mean, God, you ever hear him? He could sing the blues too.
But I'm saying like nobody would know.
He's a good singer.
Nobody would know their songs if they couldn't nowadays. Like if they came out nowadays, nobody would know what the lyrics were.
Yeah.
Would they? If you start singing "Highway to Hell" now, like in some places, like it's like everybody's just like talking on their cell phones. Oh, like what's he singing? Like it's the truth. It's the truth. Not every venue's like that, but
well, it depends what kind of music you play. Also, if you play like a death metal band, it's hard to understand the lyrics when they sing.
Yeah,
definitely.
So
in that genre, for sure.
Believe me, we've experienced with our band probably 50% of the time, like playing out when we used to tour bars. Every time, like the vocals aren't loud enough. So that's why I bring that up because it's happened to us so many times, and we're not the only band.
To us, it's important.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have that if nobody's telling you out there that they can't hear the vocals, and then you just went through a whole set of music, your music, and she's not being heard. That kind of kills your whole set, It's like.
Well, we make sure it doesn't happen. We pretty much make sure that doesn't
happen. We're more demanding now. You're not going to tolerate that. Turn it up. If you don't like it, that's too bad. Like, you got to turn it up. So.
When I hear Juliet singing, I mean, Jules is a good guitar player, but it's not by himself. We need Juliet to sing her lyrics and understand what she's talking about. If she's in the background, just noise is not good enough, I guess.
Right. Well, it's always more tricky with rock bands that are louder or ebb and flow with distorted guitars and all that stuff. You have to kind of know how to balance it. I mean, you think if Iron Maiden played out or something like that, if Bruce Dickinson can hear himself, I mean, he'd be like, no, they're loud. They have 3 guitar players and now and like all this stuff. So, anyways, yeah. I mean, you gotta be heard. That's the whole point. Kind of thing. So, yeah.
So we had, wow,
we've been
talking for so long, and I had so many questions. But just tell me, what's the best way for your fans, to support the band, and stay updated with what your latest music is or your latest news? What's the best way to get in touch with you guys and listen like I did? I mean, it's gotta be better than Spotify. I know. What is it? Firebug Music. Is that the best way?
That's our website.
Yeah, that's our handle on all our socials.
Oh, well, we have a website, firebugmusic.com as well. I mostly try to keep that updated, but I lately I need to pay more. Well, not as often as I should, but I do periodically update our website, make sure everything's working. And but our social media is probably more up to date on a regular basis. Instagram.
Instagram. That's what I follow from you guys. What I follow.
Yeah.
Instagram. I follow you guys, so I know you went hiking, and it's good to know that you are in good shape and you can sing. If you are in shape, you can sing.
Yeah, it definitely keeps you in shape going hiking. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, all spiritually, it's good for you all the way around.
Yeah.
We try to keep it.
Yeah.
We try to keep it together.
And our
as much
dog
as we
loves
can,
it too.
It is good for you. It is. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. We just want to. We're still, writing a lot of new material. We just want to keep going, try to get as much stuff out there as we can, and just ultimately, we want to get on the road and tour, and we want to head over to Europe and even South America and places like that, and play for people, because we like to think of ourselves more of a universal, like kind of a band.
Right.
We know there's a lot of people out there would get into not all our songs, but there's something for everyone, I guess, that we do for the most part.
Because there is a lot of rock music, a lot of blues, a lot of folk music. It's a lot of everything. So it should a lot of people likes your music. That's my feeling when I listen to your band or your
Thank you.
Your
Thank
records, because I like anything. But blues I like I like a lot of blues. The blues.
Sure.
I like any kind of music. Not everything, but most everything. There are things
if you feel something from it, you like it, right?
There are things that I don't really enjoy listening to, and I try.
Sure.
It's impossible to like on my taste.
Yeah.
But so I would like just to thank you for showing up. That's a good thing. That's the first thing I like, when people show up for the interview, and once they have a lot of things to say like you did, then I enjoy it even better. So
thanks, Jose.
it was a pleasure for you to talk about music and other things. So I will keep in touch. At least on your website, see what's going on and listen to your music, because
we'll do the same. And when that new single comes out, we'll throw it your way and see what you think.
I really enjoy your music. Like I tell sometimes, I got two lists. The bands that I don't like when I interview, I put them on the side. I'm like, it's okay. And then the other ones that I really enjoy their music and I like talking to them, then I put them on the other right side. So
okay.
So we're on the right side.
You're on the good part. You are on the good side, because I really enjoy you guys.
Thank you.
We enjoyed this. It was fun. Thank you for having us.
Maybe another time we can talk about more things.
Okay.
I want you to. I don't want to give you a headache. We already talk a lot.
No, you're not. It's fine.
No, we step out. We're gonna let the dog out. Figure out what we're gonna eat for dinner and
normal homestead stuff.
Go to sleep. Get up and work.
Are you gonna eat a lot of meat or a lot of vegetables? What are you gonna do?
One thing I could say for sure, it'll be chicken.
Yeah.
Chicken?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. We eat a lot of chicken.
Who does the chicken? You do the chicken, Juliet? The other
guy? I don't have time for that.
Yeah,
he's the chef. Not me.
I make all kinds of different things. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We eat at home a lot, I think,
Between having a full-time job and practicing and making time to go hike once in a while, that's it. All the time is gone.
When you live up here, when you're a little more isolated and stuff in the desert, you tend to cook more at home. Like when we lived in the cities and stuff like Chicago and LA, you just go out.
Yeah.
That's
true. You spend more money too. You spend a lot of money when you go out in those.
You do. Yeah.
I know that. So
I know.
If you ever come to Jersey, let me know. I'll carry your luggage. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Jose.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed talking to you guys.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.